All right, it's on to 1982. Hey everybody, Lindsay here, and welcome to another episode of My 5 Favorite, the show where I talk about my 5 favorite movie-related things. I don't necessarily think they're the best things, but they are my favorite and they are subject to change on a weekly basis. And on today's episode, we are talking all about my 5 favorite movies from 1982. Again, 1982, another amazing year for movies, and to whittle these down to 5 plus 5 honorable mentions, I added honorable. The honorable mentions might just become a regular thing from now on. Without further ado, let's get started. Number 5. Number 5 is one of my all-time favorite animated films. It's very dark. It's one of the reasons a lot of us 80s kids are traumatized. At least the director of this film is a big reason why a lot of us are so traumatized from our childhood. Yes, I am talking about Don Bluth's The Secret of Nim.
I must tell you about Nim. Look there.
I love the story, I love the characters. The great owls scared the piss out of me when I was a child, and so did Nicodemus, the super old rat. But I just think it's such a wonderful story. And you have Dom DeLuise as Jeremy the, is he a crow? The kids call him a turkey.
Oh, the poor turkey fell down.
I'm not a turkey.
Then there's Dragon the cat. And there's all this infighting in between the rats of whether they should stay and keep stealing electricity from the farmer, if they should leave and go start their own society. And Mrs. Frisbee, her husband, was one of the rodents that escaped from Nim initially, and she goes to them for help to move her house because she can't move her son because he's sick. And all sorts of political intrigue and backstabbing literally happens. And the animation is beautiful. I love the animation in this, especially all the stuff when she goes into the tree where the entrance to the rat's lair is. I think that's all just gorgeous.
It's the most beautiful sight I've ever seen.
And I just love Don Bluth movies. I think they're great. They're depressing as shit sometimes, but they're great.
My sword.
Oh, also, story time. That kind of has to do with The Secret of Nim and the time my dad and I accidentally played God. Okay, I live in the Midwest. At one time or another, whether you live out on a farm, you live in a small town, or you live in a big city in the Midwest, you will get mice in your house every once in a while. It just happens. Well, when I was probably 10 or 11, I had a hamster. It was one of those hamsters that has the long tail, the long furry tail with the little puff at the end. Well, he got out one day and I couldn't find him for like a month. He disappeared. He got out of his cage somehow. I don't know how he got out, but he got out. Then all of a sudden we started seeing these mice that we had never seen before. They were a little bigger than a normal mouse, and they had that long furry tail with the puff at the end like my hamster had. So what happened is when he escaped, he got out and had a lot of babies with regular field mice. So we created a new species somehow of super smart hamster mice, and they infested our house. And they didn't fall for the normal traps at all. And me being me, I didn't want to kill them just because I didn't want to kill an animal. So my dad and I devised these live traps that had a pressure switch on them, and that finally worked. And every time we caught some, we would put them in a topped aquarium in the basement until we caught them all. We ended up catching like 50 of these things, okay? 50 mutant hamster mice that have never existed before. And what did we do with them? Well, we drove down south of the small town where I grew up, where there is a power plant, and we just let them go into the wild, into the wilderness, to fuck up the ecosystem. And I am sure that they are still down there, probably stealing electricity from the power plant, just plotting their world domination. Yep.
They'd destroy us on the spot.
I agree.
He's right. We'll be killed.
Not if we got them first.
He means war.
So that's my little story that has to do with the Secret of Nim.
Discover the secret of Nim and rediscover the child in us all.
Number 4. Number 4 is a classic. I don't think it'll be a surprise to anyone. It's another film that is regarded as one of the best sequels of all time, and some people think it's one of the best science fiction films of all time, and a lot of people think it's the best Star Trek movie of all time. Yes, I am talking about Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
I've hurt you, and I wish to go on hurting you. I shall leave you as you left me, marooned for all eternity, buried alive, buried alive.
When it comes to the movies with the original series cast, the evil ones don't suck. They just don't. 2, 4, and 6, I love them. I love that it's tied into the original series, a storyline from that they expanded upon and made even deeper and darker, because it is a very, very dark Star Trek movie. I love Ricardo Montalban.
Why?
Oh my God, that scene with Chekhov and the other guy when they do the earwig thing. Holy shit, that freaked me out. That still creeps, it's still super creepy and gross, but when I was a kid, that traumatized me, seeing that scene of that thing crawling into their ears, and he's like, it's gonna wrap around your brain and all that shit, and it was just terrifying. And of course, there's the famous, it's turned into a meme now, which kids today don't even know where it came from, where Captain Kirk shouts, Khan! Khan! And then Spock, oh, God damn it, Spock.
I have been, and always shall be, your friend.
Why'd you have to do that? It's so sad at the end when they shoot him out in the sunglasses case. The ship battle scenes, the dialogue, it's super well written. I love Star Trek II. It's great. So for those reasons and many more is why it is my number 4 favorite film of 1982.
At the end of the universe lies the beginning of vengeance. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Number 3 is a horror movie. It's kind of, I classify it as a horror comedy because there's some really funny shit in this movie. It's a slasher. It's written and directed by a woman. Yes, I am talking about Slumber Party Massacre.
Love it too. Do you think I'm getting better?
The kills are really fun. I like that you don't really know who the hell the killer is and why he's doing what he's doing, and why he's stalking them. One of my favorite moments is when they find the dead guy in the living room and they have the pizza that was delivered. And they're sitting there figuring out what to do, and she just starts eating the pizza on top of the dead body. And she's like, what? I'm hungry. That's a great scene.
You're not gonna eat the dead guy's pizza.
I feel better already. Really, I do.
And I still need to get a shirt that says Space Baby like Deborah DeLiso wears in the beginning of the movie. She ends up in a fridge later.
And hang around.
You're underage. Negative. Come on, let's go.
But if you've not seen the Slumber Party Massacre, I highly recommend it. It's really funny, it's really fun. And for those reasons and many more is why it is my number 3 favorite film of 1982.
One thing's for sure, no one's getting any sleep the night of the Slumber Party Massacre. Close your eyes for a second and sleep forever.
Number 2. One of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know how many times I watched this film as a kid, not just on VHS, but it was on TNT and TBS and HBO at least twice a day. You could watch it on one of those 3 networks at least twice a day. Yes, I am talking all about Don Coscarelli's The Beastmaster.
He was lord and master over all beasts. He was the Beastmaster.
I wanted to be the Beastmaster so bad. I didn't care about Kira. Yeah, she's hot, whatever, I don't care. I wanted to be the Beastmaster because he could talk to animals. It was so cool. I was like, I want to have a tiger I could talk to, and an eagle I can see what he sees as he's flying. And this is the movie that made me want to get a ferret. I've never gotten a ferret because I've heard they bite and that they stink. But I still want one because of this movie.
Toto and Poto. My friends.
I think it's extremely underrated. It has so many cool things in it. One of my favorite things is the Bat People. The Bat People are fucking awesome. They're so cool. I think it has one of the best ending battles of all time, and not because of the fighting, but because of, you know, they cover the moat, and then the eagle comes and drops the medallion, and he's like, oh fuck, the Bat People are here, and they just start grabbing the Jun Horde and sucking them up, and I love it. It's so cool. I love the Beastmaster. You've got Mark Singer as the Beastmaster, you've got Tanya Roberts as Kira, you have John Amos as one of his helpers, and you have Rip Torn as the bad guy with his ridiculous accent and his little braid.
I defy this false prophecy.
There's so many awesome little details, like the leather daddy fighters. And the witches and the priests that commit suicide by throwing the metal thing in the air. And there's so much awesome stuff. I love it. And for those reasons and many more is why Beastmaster is my number 2 favorite film of 1982.
The Beastmaster. The epic adventure of a new kind of hero.
Number one. Number one, I don't think is going to come as a surprise to many people that have watched my channel for a while or follow me on Twitter. It's one of my favorite films of all time, probably my second favorite film. Number one's Jaws. It's a horror sci-fi, and I think it's just incredible. Yes, I'm talking about John Carpenter's The Thing.
We found something. We found something. We found something.
I love everything about this movie. It's so good. It's so well written. The practical effects in this film are probably some of the best I've ever seen. They still hold up, in my opinion. I think they're just incredible. I know Rob Bottin did a ton of stuff on this. Stan Winston helped out a little bit, but they're just so good. Just some of the kennel scene with the dogs is probably one of the creepiest scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
I don't know what the hell's in there, but it's weird and pissed off, whatever it is.
It's just so disgusting and so disturbing. It still freaks me out. Just the sounds, the sound design, coupled with the lighting where you can't really see everything, and just the creature design that they did where there's like different dog parts making different shapes and different configurations because it's trying to figure out how to replicate a dog. And oh my God, I love it. It's great. I love the performances. You got Kurt Russell and Carpenter teaming up again.
Rook to knight 6. Checkmate. Checkmate.
Cheating bitch.
And you have the wonderful, wonderful Wilford Brimley. I love his performance in this because it's so unhinged, especially when he's tearing up the control room and he's like, he's shooting at him. He's like, I'll kill you.
Okay, Blair. Come on, man. You don't want to hurt anybody. I'll kill you.
And then they put him out in the shed and they go check on him at one point and he's got like a noose hanging and he's like, I feel a whole lot better. I want to come inside. I'm all better now. It's like, sure you are, dude. You're doing great. I love the soundtrack that John Carpenter did and also Ennio Morricone. Their stuff worked very, very well together. I think it was shot very well. The stuff outdoors is gorgeous because it's so white. That can become very bland, but they still kept it very dynamic and stuff like that. And then a lot of the indoor stuff is very claustrophobic and contained, so you get a sense of that small space that they're all cramped in.
It isn't Benning.
One of my favorite parts is Donald Moffat, who plays Gary. He's kind of like the security officer guy. They have him tied to the couch and he has that whole just building monologue by at the end. He's just screaming that I don't want to spend the rest of this tied to this fucking couch. It's so great.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot. And when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
And that whole blood test scene, the suspense that they build with that each time they do the test over and over again is awesome. It's pitch perfect.
Now I'll show you what I already know.
crock of shit.
For that reason and many, many more is why The Thing is my #1 favorite movie of 1982. Honorable mentions go to Blade Runner. I couldn't make a list of favorite movies of 1982 without at least mentioning Blade Runner. Love the design, Harrison Ford in it, fucking Rutger Hauer is just incredible. It's fucking Blade Runner.
All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain.
First Blood. Yes, the first Rambo movie. He wasn't exploding people with fucking C4 tipped arrows in this one. This one was much more grounded in reality and talked a lot more about the social impact of Vietnam vets, and I thought that Sylvester Stallone gave a very great performance, and so did Brian Dennehy. It's a very good movie.
I could drive a tank. I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Back here, I can't even hold a job. Fucking cars! Ah!
Conan the Barbarian. This one is a lot more serious than the second one, The Destroyer. But you've got some great talent in it. You have Arnold, who I think does good a job for Arnold. You've got Max von Sydow. You've got James Earl Jones. You've got Sandahl Bergman. I love her. She's great. There's some great monologues. There's that one great monologue that Arnold gives about what is best in life.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
And then there's that scene where James Earl Jones turns into a giant snake. There's lots of good stuff. Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal is great. The puppetry that they did for that movie was amazing. The world building. Some of it is just really weird and funny. I love the Skeksis. I love that creature design. I think it's very, very creative, and Jim Henson was just a genius. And the last honorable mention goes to Death Valley. Death Valley is a horror movie. If you've not heard of it before, I highly suggest you check it out. It was the first film of Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie in A Christmas Story.
Son of a bitch.
It's one of the first horror movies I can remember with sort of a twist ending, with a surprise twist ending, and it's also set in the desert, which I love. So if you have not seen Death Valley, I highly recommend you check it out. It's good.
A new family, together for the first time. Here in Death Valley, they'll be secluded, isolated, but not quite alone.
Well, those were my 5 favorite films of 1982 plus honorable mentions. If you have any favorite films from 1982 that I did not mention, please put it below in the comments. I would love to know what they are. But that is going to do it for this video. So until next time, this is Lindsay signing off. I'll check you later.